Hey, Dano here. Today I'm going to go into how to get slow motion footage that is smooth. I use Premiere Pro, but you can use any other video editing software because all the concepts apply pretty much the same. Some of the settings might just be named differently. Step number one is to shoot at a high frame rate, preferably higher than the frame rate of the sequence settings that you're working on. Usually the sweet spot for slow motion is 60 frames per second, but there's obviously other options above or below that. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to assume that you filmed in 60 frames per second. Step number two, create a timeline in your editing software with a frame rate that is lower than 60 frames per second. Usually that would be 24 or 30 frames per second. Right-click on the footage, go to Modify, Interpret Footage. Click on Assume this frame rate, and set it to the same frame rate that your sequence settings are using. In my case, that's 24 frames per second, so I'm just going to change that number to 24 frames. The reason we do this is to make the clip play itself as if it was 24 frames per second. So we're essentially stretching the 60 frames per second originally in that video to accommodate for our 24 frames per second timeline, which by default will just slow down the footage. If we don't do this step and just drag and drop the clip into the timeline, then we're just going to get normal speed. But if we interpret the footage to the same frame rate as your timeline, then you're going to get the smoothest slow motion possible from your footage. A lot can be said about working with slow motion footage, but this is just the gist of how you can get it to look really smooth, at least technically in your editing software. I hope it helps. Comment down your thoughts and questions, and I'll see you with the next one.